Welcome to Happy Trails Hiking. On this station, you will find content about park travel as well as living a healthy lifestyle. If you're interested in those sorts of things, I'd invite you to subscribe. My name is Kay, and this is the Healthy Lifestyle Show. On this show, I want to offer you encouragement to live the life you love. This is Travel Tuesday, and we have a special guest, actually two of them, for you today. Our show is brought to you by our photography store, and you can get our photos on various things like mugs, pillows, even pictures to go on your wall. And you can find those things at happytrailshiking.com/store. Like I said, I have a very exciting show for you today. Let me tell you a little bit about our guests. Although full-time, working those full-time jobs, Shawn and Marianne work for a public school district in Northeast Ohio. They have been researching the paranormal since 2010. Not only do they investigate, but they dive deep into the history of locations and review what others have found or claim about the locations as well. They have visited, investigated, and researched over 300 locations across the U.S. and territories. And each week, they feature one of those locations on their YouTube channel. They have also begun publishing their own book series called Our Haunted Travels. It is available on Amazon. Welcome, Shawn and Marianne. It's good to have you here tonight.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You forgot something. There's three of us.
Oh, Boris, welcome. I'm happy to have you here.
That's okay.
He doesn't need much attention.
He's dormant during the day.
Oh, that's good. As long as we don't turn off the lights, it's not bad then. We're good. Phew. Oh, well, I've had you on the show before to talk about various healthy stuff and planning and making sure you have time management, but it's great to have you back to talk about your travel. That's really cool. So, your project on the paranormal database really got you into starting to plan travel to your paranormal places. Did this project change the way you look at America in any way, shape, form, or fashion?
I don't think it changed how I look at America, but it does change how I look at places that I'm going.
Yeah. Looking at buildings. Oh, wow. Look at that building. I bet there's something going on in there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at this place.
Even this past weekend, we went away, and we were driving down the street, and I said, "Oh, that building's from the 1800s.
Oh, yeah. These are Civil
that's
War
a Civil War era building."
Yeah.
So do you take time and just sit there and go, okay, well, that one's probably haunted. Should we look up stuff on that one?
Sometimes we do, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll write down addresses and then go back and see, if we can find anything. A lot of times, too, we'll go to a historical place that's really cool, and we'll have to sit on that location for a while until something comes up, and something normally does. I'll give you an example. The train station in Gettysburg that Abraham Lincoln went to. Very cool building. A lot of it's a museum now. A lot of historical things in there. Oh, we were there a couple different times, and I'm like, I wish I could find something about this train station so I could put it in the database. Yeah. And it wasn't until just recently we had a booth at a paranormal conference, and some lady came up and said, "Oh yeah, I had some experiences when I was in there." And I'm like, "Yahtzee!"
And by the way, here's a picture of it on my phone.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot to us too.
Yeah,
that's cool. So I was looking at the database, and well, you mentioned Gettysburg. I was like, well, all right, fine. I'm going to look up Gettysburg. So I just typed it in. And yeah, it's a really neat thing you've got going on here, Shawn and Marianne. But I know Shawn works on it the mostest.
He works on it all the time.
all the time.
Marianne used to. She contributes the photos and the research and then links and things like that.
That's really awesome. So Gettysburg. Yeah, these are really neat. And so you've got personally visited things. And then the under research and review. So what exactly does that mean when you're talking about the database?
Well, when there's a location that's in there and it says that under research and review, that basically means I haven't finished off those records yet. So I have to go out, find the history, it's in the database because we know of at least one paranormal claim.
Gotcha.
And normally I have that, like bookmarked somewhere in there. But I have to sit and go and find the history and find all that other stuff so that I can make those records active. So that's why it says under research and review. I put them in there because I was starting to forget about them. Seriously.
Well, there's over 300 of them.
That we've visited. There's over 900 and some records in the database.
Well, over 300 that you visited still. That's a ton. I'd forget them too.
Yeah.
So is it harder to come up with the evidence? Like I'll see here, like there's 7 claims at the Farnsworth house. But evidence, I guess, is harder to come up with, yes?
Probably in general. Yeah, I would say. I mean, there's claims, but, if I did some digging, I could probably find... Well, Farnsworth house is different. We've investigated there, so we have evidence there. But some of the locations that we didn't catch anything, I bet you if I dug around like on YouTube and stuff, I'll find other groups that have been there, or even go to paranormal groups' web pages and they post their paranormal investigation reports and things like that.
And
it's just time working on it. It's more like a hobby, you know.
And sometimes people will send us evidence and then we can link it in there as well. Or
new locations like you have. You sent us, what, three or four of them that we've added. Yeah.
I end up traveling. So, and then going, hey, this is an old building. I bet there's a paranormal claim here. And I'll send it to Shawn and I'll go, hey, what do you know about this? And I'll go, yep, send me a picture.
Yeah.
That's fun. And it is fun to have my pictures on your database. I think that's really neat. So, I guess question number 2, and thank you for answering all of those little bitty questions about your project. I bet you've met some interesting folks along the way. I mean, paranormal investigation has to be full of interesting people. Which people that you've met will you always remember and why? You can each go.
Well, for me, my big thing was meeting Jeff Mudgett, who was the great-great-grandson of H.H. Holmes. And he's had his own show on the History Channel and things like that. So I have his book. He's written his book. I have 3 copies of it, just getting to meet him and interview him at a haunted location. That was amazing. And, I mean, I became a groupie pretty much. So.
Yeah, she's a Jeff Mudgett groupie.
Jeff Mudgett fangirl. There you go.
I can't think of one individual.
I thought I have one I thought that you were going to pick, but go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to hear what you come up with first.
No, who?
The man behind the picket fence.
Oh, yes.
I thought that would be one you chose.
Okay, so this kind of like goes along with what I was going to answer.
Okay.
Having the database and now the YouTube channel and actually putting together a series, it's kind of made me more open to talk to people. And I guess getting older probably too, because, I'm a computer geek. I'm happy sitting behind the computer. I don't like talking to people. But I put this shirt on and we go to a location. I'm more open to talk to people and hearing people's stories and seeing them get excited about telling us their story. That's exciting to me. And what Marianne mentioned was the gentleman behind the picket fence that was there during the JFK assassination. I just started talking to him, and he was down in Dealey Plaza and had pamphlets and stuff, and he started going by. I said, hey, and this was way before we even thought about YouTube. I said, you mind if I record this? He goes, yeah, go ahead. And as he started talking, more people were coming up, and he was just telling his story and everything. And now we have that as a video. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So.
Very neat. Awesome. Cool. So you also, you mentioned our haunted travels, and that's kind of why I got the idea to have you on here. I mean, I started basically in the travel industry about 6 months ago, and I was like, well, Shawn and Marianne, you guys are travel. you guys should get into the travel industry. And you're like, oh, okay. And you're like, well, we kind of are. So look at the front page of our YouTube channel. It says Our Haunted Travels. I'm like, yeah. So anyway, speaking of your YouTube channel, my favorite thing to do, because, well, I'm a YouTuber, is go back and look at your very first videos, the first ones that you put out. Oh. And I'm not going to show any of them. I'm just going to show the front page of your channel. And he's like, oh my God, don't do it.
Yeah, don't
anyway,
do it.
So what I did though was I went and I sorted this little over here sort by, and I went sort by oldest or date added oldest, and you come up with all of these really interesting things that lots of people haven't ever watched. And there's your interview behind the picket fence.
Yeah.
And that's the one you were just mentioning. But I had a question that went along with this. Okay. So what paranormal location will you remember for the most paranormal experiences that you had there? You know,
geez. Hillview.
We don't talk about that very often, you know. Nowadays, we talk about the history of the places and this, that, and the other when you have your live shows and this, that, and the other. But we don't talk about the paranormal experiences that you guys have had. So, or it's been a long time anyway. So I guess that's my question. What location will you remember the most for paranormal experiences you've had there?
Probably Hillview, because we've been there so many times. I mean, we've been there so many times. I couldn't even tell you how many times we've been there. And almost every time we've been there, at some point, something has happened. You know, it's not like all night we were there or the whole time we were there, but there's always something that was like, did that really just happen? And that was really kind of like, it was a first paranormal experience that we realized it was an experience. And then we went back and it's like, wow, we had these other things too. But I think the flashlight video is there, and yeah,
I love Mary Virginia's room in Hillview. That one there. It's pretty active in that room, and the flashlight tends to do things, you know, when you ask it to. So
what most people don't realize about our channel, because we started it in 2010. So leading up to where you see Marianne with the picture at the Lincoln, those ones previous to that. So I think the first one dates back to 2010.
That is 2010.
Right, it's 8 years ago.
Yeah. So those were videos that I just put out there and used YouTube as the video server for the database.
Okay.
You know, they weren't like videos that I made. They were just like linked in the database.
Right, and so you embedded them.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that one where you see us sitting there next to the tomb.
Oh.
That one. That is our first Our Haunted Travels that we recorded in St. Louis, by the way.
Yes, we did.
We were at the Union Station Hotel, and it's like, it was like an hour or something long, and I'm like, okay, this isn't going to work. Yeah.
Plus, he told me, he's like, oh, don't worry about it. You can read off the paper because, you know, I'm just going to, like, cover that up with stuff so nobody will ever see that. So I'm literally reading the stuff off the paper, and I was so unhappy with him when I watched it. I was like, you lied to me. I look like I'm just reading stuff. Like, I knew that stuff. I could have looked at the camera.
You were just reading stuff.
I was, because you said I didn't have to remember anything.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, that's all right. Our first intro video was like 15 minutes long. I'm like, nobody's going to watch this. We've changed since then. I understand completely. But yeah, there are so many of these videos, and I'm sure like Lori, my sister, Lori Bryant, has probably gone back and watched all of them because she just does that. But I know I haven't gotten to watch all of these videos. And I told Marianne when we started talking about this interview that I was going to ask her who she was the most fangirl of like historic people. And she did say Jeff Mudgett before, but then of your paranormal people, that you've researched and investigated. Who is your fangirl? Oh, I shouldn't have brought it up, huh? I'm sorry.
Well, the person that I like researching the most and I've gotten to really get
relate
close to would be Lizzie Borden, of course. Lizzie's my girl.
So why is she the most interesting to you? Like, I met you during the Lizzie Borden.
That's right, you did. That's why, because that's when we got to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Wow, this just took a turn.
No, I teach a forensic science class in school, and I...
Let me just put the camera on her, because she's got the rest of it. She'll be talking about Lizzie.
Yeah, I'll talk about Lizzie now forever.
We'll go back to you. You have to come up with an answer.
I teach the Lizzie Borden case as part of my forensics course, so it's always been something exciting to me. I've gotten to go to her house that she lived in at the time of the murders. I laid in the house in her room. Yeah, I've been everywhere there. I went to her graveyard, all that stuff. Plus, when I was a little girl, my mom and dad used to make these dummies and stuff them with our clothes and put them outside at Halloween and decorate the yard. And the one that was right by our front door was Lizzie Borden. And so my mom had this dress form, and she put this dress on her, and she made this hatchet out of a broom handle and this piece of wood, and she painted it. And then she took my Play-Doh, and she took the red Play-Doh, and she put a string on it, and she put a little pieces of red Play-Doh to make it look like blood drops. And I remember that. And
Look
so
how excited she's getting. Oh,
Lizzie, from when I was a small child until literally right now.
I never even heard of Lizzie Borden until I was an adult, number one. And number two, I really had no idea until I met her on your live show one night.
What?
Anyway, I know.
Crazy.
I'm insane.
You mean you didn't skip rope to Lizzie Borden took it? No? Sadness.
I was deprived as a child, I guess. Sorry. So, Shawn, if you had a paranormal fan or something that you are you a fan of any paranormal anybody's?
I don't know. I can't think of any.
You got to investigate anybody.
I would say Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln.
Because he is a paranormal entity that shows up a lot of places. He is a historical figure that we really like. My second is Lincoln, so Lincoln I thought would be you.
We haven't really delved into Kennedy stuff too much, though, but Lincoln, Kennedy, those are... and like the Ben Franklin and Founding Fathers, industrialists, Carnegie,
Right.
Again, we haven't delved into those yet on our channel, but eventually we will. That time period, 1850 to 1910, whatever, is what's of interest to me. Cool. And Lizzie falls into that time period too. So.
I know she does.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys just did a live show about the wake and the Victorian wakes over the weekend. That's really neat to see your pictures and things from that. So, that's one of those things that if you have not seen that on their channel, you should go back and check.
And by the way, those suits are not cool. They're very warm.
Woolen even.
They're very warm.
Yeah, but I love the Victorian era, and I love all the wake traditions and everything. So I get real excited over that stuff.
I think we were born in the wrong time period, or reincarnated, or something.
I definitely was born in the wrong time period.
Could be. That could be. So I do know something that I'm interested in that maybe some of our viewers don't know about you guys. And I figured this out a little while ago when we were talking in your Parapeeps chat one day. And by the way, if you're not involved in their Parapeeps Facebook group, the link is in the description. You should come on over and join us there. It's really fun. We have a good time. But when we were chatting in the Parapeeps Twitter group, I realized that people didn't know anything about Dark Shadow Ghost Tours. Can you tell me a little bit about that? along with your haunted travels.
Okay, so for those who are not into paranormal investigations, okay, not like Marianne and I do, where we travel and most of the times we go in a corner and do a quick investigation. We're talking about renting a building, doing a full scale investigation, lights out, you're the only one there, and all that other stuff. It's quite expensive. It is very expensive. Some of these places could range anywhere from $200 to, like Mansfield Prison's like $2,200.
Yeah.
You know, on a weekend.
Wow.
So that adds up. And then you got travel expense and all that. You know, travel. You guys who travel, you know that. But so we got to a point where we thought we got to figure out a way to fund this. We work for schools. You know, we're not.
I'm not rich.
Yeah, we're not independently wealthy. We could just pick up and go wherever we want. So we came up with the idea of, you know, since we're in education, we'll teach people how to do paranormal investigations, and we'll take them to these places. So if, you know, and there was a couple others with us in the beginning. Marianne's sister was with us in a couple. So there was like, okay, there's 3 or 4. And then we get some other people that come and split that cost of renting those locations. And then part of it, they would get a T-shirt and picture. You know, that will make it, you know, make it fun, like an event. So that was the creation of Dark Shadow Ghost Tours. So it got to a point where it's like, you know, with everything that we do, it can't just be simple.
No, of course not. Must add extra things.
We took a bus of 50 people to Hillview once, and we're talking, you know, 55 passenger tour buses.
Wow.
We took 50 people to Mansfield Prison.
Zor Village.
You know, different locations that we were going to. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we're in Northeast Ohio, so...
It gets cold.
Yeah, November, December, you know, it starts getting chilly, gets really cold, January, February. We're not going to go sit in a building that doesn't have electricity or heat. It's not happening.
I am a fair-weathered ghost investigator.
So we thought, okay, in the winter months, we don't want to give up that momentum. Those who are on YouTube know what I'm talking about. You want to keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Mm-hmm. And we got the idea, again, through a friend of ours that was working. They were actually coming. They work with it. Well, one of them works with us. We met her husband and everything. And they put on a family reunion, and at the family reunion they have a murder mystery, and I'm like, that is so cool. And she's an art teacher,
right?
So she makes the costumes and the props and things like that. So we were going to their house for dinner and everything. We were talking, we're like, what if we did that like in a large setting, you know, where we can invite people, like a wedding, the groom dies. Like, absolutely, we could do it. So, you know, we're just brainstorming, and you know, and then it got to the point. Again, we can't do anything simple. It got to the point where we're doing murder mystery dinners every month, 248 to 260 some people. The way our dinners were, as soon as you walk into the venue, you're walking into the mystery. So everything would be decorated, decked out, everything. Like if you came to a wedding,
character.
It was a wedding reception, full-blown wedding reception. We had a DJ. We had the cake. I still have the cake.
Flowers.
Flowers. The tables were decorated. The gifts, the wedding gifts. What's that?
When you couldn't take them on travels, you brought
in the winter months we did the murder mysteries, and then that money would help fund the other things. So that's what Dark Shadow Ghost Tours was.
Very cool.
But then it got too big. So we're like, we're going to take a break.
Yeah, I get that. I used to, you know, put on plays and concerts and things as a fine arts director, so I get it.
Yeah.
I do have one question left for you.
Oh, I forgot. We're going to run out of time. Okay, go ahead.
Specifically about travel. So when thinking about traveling to your locations, like paranormal thing, you know, lots of old buildings, right? What are some of the things that you would need to take into account when you're traveling to your locations. Like you went to some locations in San Diego, maybe not buildings and things, but I know you traveled to San Diego back in November and you happened to be there on another thing. But did you have to add things to your trip, like do extra because you were traveling for the paranormal or haunted?
Okay. Well, here's how this works. Here's how we get to so many different places. If we're going to an area, and Marianne being a biology teacher, she gets to go once a year to somewhere around the country. Okay?
Okay.
So, like this year, we're going to Chicago.
Correct.
Okay. So, we know where her conference is going to be. That's where we're staying. Then I start looking within a perimeter, like within walking distance, within Uber, within, taxi, whatever, within the area. Are there haunted locations that we get hit? Because she's in the conference during the day, and then at nighttime, you're on your own.
And most people do it paranormal things at nighttime, so it works out really well.
We look for ghost tours, we look for, any of that kind of stuff. And that's how we get to so many different places. Or if there's like an event going on that we want to travel and go to, we'll try to tie in other things that are in that area. And that's another purpose of the Panic D database. There's a map in there. So eventually, if somebody could go and pinpoint where they're going to go, they could look around and see the little pins of different locations if they want to do something like we do and go and hit up those haunted locations.
Well, that's really cool. So I guess my only other thing then, in addition to that, is your equipment, like, do you have to like plan to like take an extra bag on the plane or all that? Like, do you ship it?
We have a travel bag. That's kind of like scaled down version, and then we have cases if we do a full-blown investigation, with DVRs and all that other stuff. We don't travel with that. We travel light with our just certain equipment, recorder, K2 meter, just certain things that can shove in your pocket.
Awesome.
But we do make sure that we put that kind of stuff in our carry-on if we're going to fly, because, you got to turn some of that stuff on and explain things to the TSA and,
We actually we did a presentation at a paranormal conference that talks about traveling and ghost hunting and all that. And it's like on our channel, we like recorded it. It's like a 2-part thing. And it talks about, like, you don't want to take a temperature gun through TSA. Oh, you're going in the back room for that one. So yeah, there's certain ways to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I appreciate you all being here and coming on to talk to me about your haunted travels. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience before our time's up today?
Just that, if you're here watching Happy Trails hiking, you're in the right spot. This is an awesome channel, and Kay does an awesome job. And I really look forward to all the different topics and, health things and travel things. And it's awesome. I'm glad we got together and we met.
Well, I'm very glad that our trails have crossed as well. So stay tuned with me just a second, guys. I'm going to close out the show.
All right.
Thank you all for being here with us today, and I hope you enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about Shawn and Marianne Donnelly from Panic D Paranormal History. Until next time, remember to go out and live the life you love, guys. You are not replaceable. Thanks so much.